This is Border Crossings. I'm Larry London, and today we are joined by a New York City band marking their 18th year of making music. We Are Scientists. Their new CD came out in April. It's called Megaplex, which is their 7th full studio album that goes along with their 4 previous EPs. In 2008, We Are Scientists topped the chart in Scotland with their song Chick Lit. Their albums have achieved gold status, and several of their songs have appeared on the top 40 charts in the U.S. Join us today for a live performance and interview with the alternative rock duo We Are Scientists here on Border Crossings. Hi, I'm Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. They're on the road right now for a brand new album called Megaplex. We'd like to welcome We Are Scientists to the Voice of America. It's great to have you guys here.
Great to be here.
Are you We Are Scientists? I mean, are you scientists? I'm sure that's the most redundant question you get asked. Probably have been asked in the number of years you've been putting out albums, but I have to ask it.
Yeah. The more we get asked it, the more I begin to really wonder.
Yeah, it's one of those
initially,
things.
Yeah, initially I would just brush it off. No, it's simply a name.
Yeah.
But the more I ponder it,
it's like if somebody...
the more esoteric it becomes.
If you're repeatedly called a jerk,
Uh-oh, you start
even
to
if
believe.
even if you don't think you are, at some point you got to say, like, maybe I am kind of a jerk.
But what if your name were Larry Jerk?
Uh-oh. And
That's
you wouldn't be
true.
hosting this show.
Sure.
No,
I
never
wasn't
be able.
playing. It's a different Larry. A guy
Different
you don't
Larry.
know. Guy we went to school with.
So let me ask you this. Why did you pick the name We Are Scientists?
We're tremendously enthusiastic about science.
You ran out of other options?
We actually were asked by a guy at a U-Haul company when we were returning a moving van out of college if we were scientists. The two of us at the time both wore glasses, and
based on our
we hadn't
appearance.
learned about contacts
It's
yet.
funny that that was the most legitimate version of that query.
Yeah.
That was the one most purely based on someone's just pure suspicion that we might be scientists.
We hadn't misled him by proclaiming that we were scientists.
And originally you're
He
from
actually felt-
Berkeley, California?
No, we lived in Berkeley, and that's where we formed the band. But
Okay.
we only spent about 3 months there as a band.
Okay,
And
where are you from originally?
I'm from Utah. He's from Florida, and the man down there is from Jersey.
That's right.
And so you were in school, or what brought you to Berkeley, California?
Yeah, Keith and I met each other actually in Los Angeles, and then after we graduated, moved to Berkeley.
Ah, and you said, we're going to make a band. This just felt right. You became friends. And
We had a basement.
Yeah, we sort of
basically.
reverse engineered the whole thing.
Yeah.
The house we moved into in Berkeley had a basement, and there were 3 of us. We said, well, what are some nice things 3 men can do in a dark basement?
Yeah, what's
Let's start a band.
what's a wholesome activity? Yeah.
and you weren't called We Are Scientists at that time when you first started, were you? You had
We
another-
were. We actually had the
From the
band name
beginning.
before we had
a group.
maybe even before we had the basement.
we got that question from the guy at the U-Haul, and we said, minutes later as we were driving away in our personal vehicle, we were like, that would be a pretty good band name. We should probably start that band. And then I think it was a couple months later, after incidentally we had come up with a list of song names.
Yeah.
That we actually had a practice in that basement and started the long, fraught road.
Yeah.
to
Now, what are
this
your
day.
names? Because I know you've got many names. I looked at your bio, and you go by many, many names.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe you can give us the birth name first.
What our parents call us.
Yeah.
What do your
I'm
parents
Chris.
call you? Chris?
I'm Keith.
My name is also Keith.
Also Keith. And now the stage names, which are, you have a list of them.
Lately, I've gone by Turbo.
Turbo.
Stage, yeah.
Okay.
Larry Jerk.
Larry Jerk.
And they just call me Phoenix.
Phoenix. All right. So why the other names? I mean, it's just out of boredom, or you just...
Keeps the fans off our trails. We used to get a lot of personal visits at our homes. And this at least adds one additional hurdle to the doxing process.
So how many albums has it been now? You guys have been together for, 5 years, I guess I read?
Megaplex is our 6th
Yeah.
album.
In 5 years?
No, in 10.
10
no,
years?
15.
15. Well, it's
Yeah.
just keep multiplying.
The first one came out in 2005.
Uh-huh.
So
Wow, well, congratulations. What's been the key to your success? I mean, to make something...
longevity.
Yes, that's a good answer. But what gives you longevity after 15 years? Because many bands are trying to make it past the first year, and you get 15 years is a long time.
I think the core of it is kind of our friendship. You know, we were best friends before we started the band, and I think as soon as that expires, the band will end.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh,
I think
pressure.
I think probably a lot of friends have been doing, jigsaw puzzles together for 18 years.
Right.
Or playing cards.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is simply an activity like that for us.
Well, great. We're happy to have you in our studios. We Are Scientists are here. And would you do a song for us?
Of course.
Of course.
What's this one called?
Should we do one in, one out first?
Yeah.
This is the first track off of Megaplex.
All right.
Right? Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I fall in love at least once every night. Another volume just keeps catching my eye. I can't keep picking one off every shelf. I made a promise, it's one in and one out. That's why I stopped right where I stood when I saw you. That's why I stopped right where I stood when I saw you. I'm breaking myself trying to get you in bed. A million thoughts are racing around my head. You know I want you, but I'm gripped by this doubt. But on this promise, it's one in and one out. That's why I stopped right where I stood when I saw you. That's why I stopped right where I stood when I saw you. There was a lot I could have done, but nothing good. That's why I stopped right where I stood when I saw you. Saw you. That's why I stopped right where I stood when I saw you. There was a lot I could have done, but nothing good. That's why I stopped right where I stood when I saw you.
We Are Scientists live on Border Crossings on the Voice of America. You guys sound great. I like the harmonies. And so the songwriting, is it a collaborative thing? Is it there's one person does the songwriting? How does it work for you? What's the process?
It's, it always kind of starts with one person, the initial kernel of an idea. And then we work on stuff as a band once things are a little bit set in stone, really. No, once they're kind of past the demo phase and we've agreed that that the song merits our attention as a band. But yeah.
And how has your music evolved from the first album to Megaplex, which, I mean, it's
gotten worse.
50, it's gotten worse.
Our first album, I think, sounds a lot like a lot of the music in New York in 2005. The sort of disco rock that was very popular then, Strokes and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs and bands like that, who were all sort of bands we were listening to and very excited about. And you can hear that very actively in that record.
We sort of also used to write our songs with an eye purely toward the live performance. And so we would write our songs to be played, and then we would
when it came time to record the album, we would be like, well, how do we best capture three guys playing in a room? And now I would say it's sort of flipped. Like we definitely write our songs for an album, and then we worry later aggressively about how to do it live. Yeah,
That's very interesting. I mean, and so where do you get the influences for the songs that you're writing? Is it your life experience? Is it observing things? I mean, has it come from places you visited? Where do you find your best songs come from?
No, that's a good question. There's a lot of channeling going on. I would say there's like I often find that, like, when I'm writing a song, that I kind of figure out what the song is about as it's going. Like I very rarely begin with anything more than like maybe a phrase or I never think of a story before I sit down and write. Like it sort of is always coupled with the music and the melody and sort of the syllables initially lending themselves to words that then I kind of free associate into meaning eventually.
Where's the most unusual place you ever got influence for a song? I mean, you never thought of it and you started, wow, and then it became something.
Yeah.
We definitely wrote one song on our second record because we wanted Hall & Oates style Blue-Eyed Soul song and some honking
We wanted a
saxophone.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was how that song started.
Yeah.
The saxophone on it doesn't really honk, unfortunately.
It's too smooth to be considered a honking.
How does the live show differ from the acoustic set we're seeing? I mean,
We lie down flat on the ground. At the
okay,
live show.
that's important. That always gets the crowd going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the live show is, it's all electric guitars, fair amount of distortion and effects.
Yeah, it's much more kinetic.
A full drum kit,
show.
and a little more bouncing around.
So what format lane would we see We Are Scientists in most likely? Is it alternative?
Rock. I mean, we're kind of this record has probably only about 30% of it is straight rock.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of pop, I guess. But probably the majority of our songs, like 80%, would be called rock songs.
I mean, I would say if there are any radio programmers listening, we plug nicely into any format.
Any format. Work between any two records.
That's
whatever it
one.
is.
Yeah, that's a very weird thing about us. Yeah.
So Megaplex is an interesting name for an album. What made you decide this is what you're going to call the album?
Well, it definitely stems from our love of movies, and specifically going to
to
the
them,
picture
yeah.
house.
Yeah. Oftentimes, it's more simply about attending that cathedral that is the Megaplex.
Exactly.
That it
Doesn't
is the
matter what
sermon itself.
Yeah, the sermon is irrelevant.
So it's not a concept album. I mean,
It's not a concept album. We did, we thought that title fit this collection of songs quite well because there's an eclecticism to them that is, I think it's more eclectic than our previous albums. And, as Keith was saying, there's kind of quite a variety of formats, if you will. And so in the same way that a Megaplex might offer, 10 different movies for 10 different tastes, this album kind of has a little bit of something for, well, not everyone, but I'd say 98% of the world would find their favorite song on here. I mean,
well, you guys have obviously lasted a long time. 15 years is a lifetime in the music business, and you're all very young, so I'm sure you have, and this is the new album, but I'm sure you have ideas for the future as well. And so the rest of the year is going to be touring? Is that kind of what you're on the track for now?
Pretty much, yeah, through mid-November.
Is this an international tour?
We go back and forth to Europe kind of constantly.
Yeah, we're off to Italy tomorrow, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are huge.
For the weekend.
All around the world. I was looking at Australia and different places on the planet.
China has not discovered We Are Scientists yet.
Well, they will today.
Yeah.
There you go.
They will today
Great.
after this.
That'd be great.
And you guys, I don't know if what I read is correct, if it's accurate, but you're kind of bad boys. So you caused a problem in a hotel. That's what I came across somewhere.
That was not us.
That was not you?
Was this the shredding of
Yes.
the Bible?
Yes, the shredding
in
of the
Austria?
Bible. Yeah.
That was actually
That was somebody
that was
else.
our
well,
tour
it was our
manager.
tour manager.
Oh, your
Yeah.
tour manager, who's
Yeah.
no longer your tour manager. I
He
see.
is.
Yeah, he's outside. We wouldn't let him in here today.
He's out there on the DC Mall right now.
Shredding Bibles.
He's probably lying face down with cuffs on his wrists, I would guess. Yeah, he's definitely the bad boy in the band.
Yeah,
ironically.
definitely.
The rest of us are all very polite.
Yeah.
If it wasn't music, what would you be doing? What were you studying or thinking of studying when you came across one another and decided to make a band?
I studied international relations, so I probably would have been let go from the diplomatic corps this year. What about you?
I was working in film production.
Uh-huh.
So
And you?
I was working in public radio.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, at WNYC in New York.
Okay.
Until these guys drafted me.
we got him out of a real dead end.
Right, broadcasting. You had another guy in the band. I think there was a fourth guy who left a couple of years ago.
Our fourth man, Max Hart, actually, he was our keyboardist on our second record, and he has come back to produce our last 2 records. So he produced Megaplex.
Oh, that's excellent.
He actually is a touring key player for Melissa Etheridge now, because we trained him.
That's right.
And now she's benefiting from that training.
Chops
Yeah.
rating. Yeah.
For all your investments.
Yeah.
We Are Scientists. Our guest here, Megaplex, is the new album. Would you guys do another song for us?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is also from Megaplex. It's called Your Light Has Changed. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. However you get in, that's how you leave again. But once you're in my head, I wanna keep you there, and that's why I lie awake every night while I wait for your light to change. It seems so distant, I can't see the end. Oh, why my head is spinning like a ceiling fan while I wait for your light to change. I might think this is it. Somehow we're on the brink. Just when I'm gonna quit, that's when it's kicking in. And that's why I lie awake every night while I wait for your light to change. It seems so distant, I can't see the end. Oh, why my head is spinning like a ceiling fan while I wait for your light to change. However you get in, you're always creeping in. And once you're in my head, I wanna keep you there. And that's why I lie awake every night while I wait for your light to change. It seems so distant, I can't see the end. Oh, why my head is spinning like a ceiling fan while I wait for your light to change.
We Are Scientists, and it's Border Crossings. And so, what's been the highlight for you guys so far? I mean, that's 15 years of work. There's a lot of stories, a lot of road trips. What's been the most memorable moment for We Are Scientists?
Let's see. We've had some wild experiences.
I'm sure you guys have. I want to hear about it.
Keith and I just had a pretty wild boat ride on Lake Garda.
Oh, yeah, that was
in
great.
Italy.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, touring is basically going back and forth between periods of complete inactivity and complete overactivity. So in one of those moments of complete inactivity, we decided to take advantage of our location, our proximity to Lake Garda. And yeah.
Chris was visiting family in Germany, and we figured we'd balance that domesticity with unhinged boat captaining.
That's right.
That's great. And so the tour, I mean, I'm sure there's been, you play around the world, so the fans are different everywhere you go because you can't take your U.S. fans with you. True. So what's the reception been like when you leave the country? What kind of people come out to watch the band perform?
It's always better than in the U.S.
Is it really? Okay, yeah, right, sure. I'm sure your U.S. fans will love hearing that.
They should work harder. They need, being
bar's
dishonest
high.
with them is not going to help. I mean, we need to tell them the reality. The biggest difference is usually the size of the show. It's just more, I think more exciting as a person in an audience if you're crammed in amongst a bunch of other attendees. So our UK shows are always the biggest. So they tend to get the most riled up
That's your favorite place to play? Is the UK?
Yeah, I didn't say that.
How about Japan? Have you been there?
Japan is amazing. We've only been a couple times, but it's fantastic. It's kind of one of the only places that we go where we feel genuinely the possibility of getting lost when we're walking around, because there's not much signage in English.
Right.
And
I live there, so I know.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
and the idea is that like when you get lost in Japan, you stay lost forever. There's no way for an idiot like me to find my way back when I'm in Japan.
that's right. You become a tree spirit, like in Mononoke Hime or something like that.
And you guys, throughout your careers, you guys have, as I mentioned, played festivals and bigger shows, small shows. You play all kinds. Do you have a preference? Do you like the 50,000 fan type venue, or do you prefer the smaller, more intimate setting? Which do you prefer?
Like a large, intimate venue.
A large, intimate.
1,000 capacity, 2,000 capacity.
Because the response is different. The vibe you feed off of is different.
Yeah, exactly.
Just simply your distance from the crowd is different. You know, it's always weird going on a festival bandstand and seeing the crowd 50 yards away, and
Right.
those are the first people on the barrier.
And I imagine the fans are all, you guys have loyal fans. Do they have a name? I mean, We Are Scientists is a unique name. Do your fans call themselves something?
Good people.
Yeah.
Good people.
Noble,
There's a new name.
thoughtful
Yeah.
So they have
Honest.
no name. Do they do anything? I mean, some of the strangest things, stories about fans, hiding away in a tour bus or something. Most bands have those kinds of
We had a
stories.
fan who made voodoo dolls of us.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Voodoo doll?
Yeah, but she would give them
She was,
to us.
Yeah, she was kind.
So
Poke
we,
yourself.
So that nobody else
We
could torment us.
Exactly. We retained the power over ourselves.
Well, I like your harmonies. I like your music. You guys, very interesting to hear you guys play live. I know you're hugely popular. And so if you're walking down the street in California or New York, where you live now in New York, you guys are instantly recognizable, and you put out the music videos, which are an expensive thing to do nowadays, to make music videos.
They can be pricey, yeah. Where were we? We were somewhere just the other day.
Oh, a bartender in Chicago
Chicago.
just told us we were the most recognizable band. We had been hanging out for a couple hours and he didn't say anything. And then as we were leaving, he was like, "Oh, you're playing, across town tonight." We were like, "Oh, yeah, we are." And he said, "You're the most recognizable band." And then he kind of just walked away.
Yeah.
And that's part of the price, when you give up some of the anonymity to become famous. The more famous you become, the less privacy you have.
This
Yeah.
guy thought we were more
The
recognizable
most.
than even AC/DC.
So in the 15 years you've been doing this, I mean, how has the business changed for you? Because I know we've got now, iTunes and streaming, and it becomes harder and harder to sell an album. So how have you managed to maneuver around through that?
The live stuff becomes more important, I think. For us, that's definitely our primary revenue stream. So playing live is crucial. I think unless you're a huge enough act to, get a Revlon ad or some kind of endorsement, playing live is kind of
Which
bread
we're
and butter
working
now.
towards.
You're working towards Revlon.
Revlon.
with it.
Yeah, exactly. Right now we have a Clearasil endorsement.
Has your music been in TV or movies yet? I mean,
It has, yeah. We've had some placements over the years.
In fact, the next song we're playing was in a movie called Nick and Nora's.
Infinite
Infinite
playlist.
Playlist.
Wow,
That's right.
like a segue there. Look at that. How
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Would you guys do the song for us?
Sure.
It's called After Hours.
After Hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be rude to play it now. And then we plugged it. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This door is always open. This door is always open. No one has the guts to shut us out. But if we have to go now, I guess there's always hope that someplace will be serving after hours. This night is winding down, but time means nothing. As always at this hour, our time means nothing. One final round, 'cause time means nothing. Say that you'll stay.
soaking up the airs that everyone else throws away. And if we have to go now, I guess there's always hope. Tomorrow night will be more of the same. This night is winding down, but time means nothing. As always at this hour, our time means nothing. One final round, 'cause time means nothing. Say that you'll stay. Say that you'll stay. Say that you'll stay. We're all right where we're supposed to be. 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 This door is always open. This door is always open. No one has the guts to shut us out. No one has the guts to shut us out. Time means nothing. Time means nothing. One final round, 'cause time means nothing. Say that you'll stay. Say that you'll stay. Say that you'll stay.
We are scientists. I love it. You guys sound great.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
And I was reading where you guys have had a little TV mini video series in the UK on MTV.
We did.
You still doing that anymore?
No. In fact, we've done our best to bury any mention of it.
Sorry to bring it up.
That's all right.
People ask us all the time when the next season of that is happening. And we just kind of shrug.
Yeah.
We'll get around to
We'll
it.
get around to it.
What's the, I mean, the next year is more touring. That's what the plan is for you guys. That's on the agenda. You just put the album out in April. So what's
Yeah.
the next year going to be like?
We do always say that at the end of every touring cycle, we're really going to work on that TV show. We do that. So it could be Steve Wants His Money time again. That was the name of that
2019.
show.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're touring this record through the end of the year, and then kind of we'll see what we're hungry for at that point.
I was going to ask, anything you haven't done that you want to do that's on the to-do list or the bucket list or whatever?
Yes. More South American shows.
We do want more South American shows, and we'd love to go to China.
China.
I like the thing that we haven't done is more South America.
More.
Well, I'm sorry. I haven't played South America with these guys.
And
So-
we talk about it constantly in front of him, so he's very jealous.
Well, that would be great to have you guys in China, and hopefully if people are tuned in right now from China, and send an invite to you
Yes.
guys
Over.
to have you go and play somebody's bar mitzvah or something.
Absolutely.
We-
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally in China. We are scientists. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Where's your website again for people who want to check you out online?
It's just wearescientists.com.
And all
Bought
the
that
social
URL
media?
early.
All the social media is the same.
All right. So if people want to reach out to you guys, you probably respond yourselves.
We do.
To a lot of
We
people.
do.
All right. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for
We
having
Are
us.
Scientists. Megaplex is the album. Thanks for watching. This is Border Crossings on VOA TV.